Question 1. A claims adjuster is reviewing a homeowner's insurance policy after a fire has caused significant damage to a client's house. The policy contains a clause stating that damage caused by natural causes is covered but excludes damages resulting from neglect or lack of proper maintenance. The adjuster finds evidence suggesting that the fire started due to an outdated electrical system that had not been maintained properly by the homeowner. What should the adjuster consider when determining whether the damage is covered under the policy? A. The adjuster should assume that the homeowner is liable for the damage due to the failure to maintain the electrical system. B. The adjuster should assess the nature of the fire and consider whether it falls under the natural causes category despite the maintenance issue. C. The adjuster should reject the claim because the damage was caused by neglect, which is explicitly excluded in the policy. D. The adjuster should determine the extent of the damage and apply the exclusion for neglect only if the electrical system failure was intentional. Answer. C. The adjuster should reject the claim because the damage was caused by neglect, which is explicitly excluded in the policy. Explanation. The policy explicitly excludes damage caused by neglect or lack of proper maintenance. In this case, the fire was caused by an outdated electrical system, which constitutes neglect or failure to maintain the property. The adjuster should apply the exclusion and reject the claim for damages. Understanding exclusions and how they apply to specific situations is critical for a claims adjuster. In this case, the adjuster must ensure that the policy's terms, including exclusions, are properly understood and enforced. Question 2. When investigating a bodily injury claim resulting from a car accident, an adjuster reviews medical records from the injured party's treatment. The medical records indicate that the injured party has a history of similar injuries, but did not seek medical treatment for these injuries until after the accident occurred. What should the adjuster do next in assessing the claim? A. Assume that the injuries are not related to the accident and deny the claim. B. Investigate whether the pre-existing injuries were aggravated by the accident and consider compensation accordingly. C. Reject the claim entirely, as the injuries existed prior to the accident and must not be covered. D. Accept the claim and provide compensation for the injuries without further investigation. Answer. B. Investigate whether the pre-existing injuries were aggravated by the accident and consider compensation accordingly. Explanation. A claims adjuster must determine the extent to which the accident contributed to the injuries, especially when there is a history of similar injuries. In Minnesota, as with most states, compensation can still be provided if the accident aggravated pre-existing conditions. The adjuster should investigate whether the accident worsened the pre-existing injuries or caused new complications. This requires understanding the medical details of the claim and working with healthcare professionals to assess causality. This scenario reflects the need for a thorough fact-based investigation and accurate documentation. Question 3. Scenario-based. Mr. Roberts is a claims adjuster working for a Minnesota-based insurance company. He is investigating a liability claim involving a customer who slipped and fell at a grocery store. The store has a history of complaints about its slippery floors, but the customer did not report the hazard until after the fall. The customer is now requesting compensation for medical bills and lost wages. What should Mr. Roberts do first in handling this claim? A. He should immediately accept the claim and process the compensation for medical bills and lost wages. B. He should deny the claim as the customer did not report the hazard until after the fall. C. He should investigate the store's history of complaints and evaluate whether the store's negligence contributed to the incident. D. He should ask the customer to provide more documentation before beginning the investigation. Answer. C. He should investigate the store's history of complaints and evaluate whether the store's negligence contributed to the incident. Explanation. Mr. Roberts needs to assess whether the store was negligent in maintaining safe premises. In Minnesota, as in many jurisdictions, property owners have a duty to maintain safe conditions for visitors. If the store had prior complaints about its floors and failed to address them, this may constitute negligence. The adjuster should investigate the store's maintenance practices, the frequency and nature of prior complaints, and whether the conditions of the floor at the time of the accident were hazardous. Simply asking for more documentation or denying the claim based on when the hazard was reported would not address the key legal issue of negligence. The outcome of the investigation will guide the decision on whether to accept or deny the claim based on liability. Question 4. An insurance policy provides coverage for damages to a policyholder's home in the event of a storm. However, the policy includes a clause stating that damage caused by flooding is excluded from coverage. After severe storm, the homeowner files a claim for water damage caused by the overflow of a nearby river which was exacerbated by the storm. What should the claims adjuster do next? A. Deny the claim immediately as flooding is excluded under the policy. B. Accept the claim and compensate the homeowner as the damage was caused by the storm. C. Investigate whether the storm itself caused the flooding, in which case the damage might be covered. D. Recommend that the homeowner seek separate flood insurance for future incidents. Answer A. Deny the claim immediately as flooding is excluded under the policy. Explanation. The policy explicitly excludes damage caused by flooding. While the storm may have exacerbated the situation, the damage was caused by the overflow of a nearby river, which is categorized as flooding. The claims adjuster must adhere to the policy's exclusions, and since flooding is clearly excluded from coverage, the claim should be denied. The adjuster's role is to apply the terms of the policy to the facts of the claim, including exclusions like this one. Question 5. During the investigation of a workers' compensation claim, an adjuster discovers that the claimant has been employed with the company for over 5 years and has previously received medical treatment for similar injuries in the past year. The claimant is now seeking compensation for an injury sustained while lifting heavy equipment. What should the adjuster consider when evaluating the validity of this claim? The adjuster should immediately accept the claim since the injury is work-related. B. The adjuster should assess the claimant's medical history to determine whether the injury is a result of a pre-existing condition. C. The adjuster should deny the claim due to the history of similar injuries, as the claimant should have known the risk involved. D. The adjuster should automatically reject the claim because the claimant has a history of similar injuries. Answer. B. The adjuster should assess the claimant's medical history to determine whether the injury is a result of a pre-existing condition. Explanation. When handling workers' compensation claims, it is important to determine whether the injury is a direct result of the work-related incident or whether it was aggravated by a pre-existing condition. Since the claimant has a history of similar injuries, the adjuster must evaluate whether the current injury is new or merely an exacerbation of an earlier condition. This can be done by reviewing medical records and consulting with medical professionals. Simply accepting or rejecting the claim without proper investigation could lead to improper claim handling. Question 6. A claims adjuster is handling a general liability claim for a company after a customer slips on a wet floor in the store. The store has signage warning about wet floors, but the customer claims that the signage was not visible due to poor lighting in the area. What should the adjuster consider in determining whether the store is liable for the accident? A. The adjuster should accept the claim as the store was aware of the wet floor. B. The adjuster should assess the visibility of the warning signage and the adequacy of the store's lighting. C. The adjuster should reject the claim as the customer was responsible for noticing the signage. D. The adjuster should investigate if the customer was careless in entering the area with a wet floor. Answer. B. The adjuster should assess the visibility of the warning signage and the adequacy of the store's lighting. Explanation. In general liability claims, the issue of negligence is central. The store has a responsibility to provide adequate warning of potential hazards. In this case, the adjuster must investigate whether the warning signage was adequately visible and whether the lighting was sufficient for the customer to see it. If the lighting was poor and made the signage unreadable, the store may be liable for the accident due to negligence in maintaining proper safety standards. The adjuster must assess whether the store took reasonable steps to prevent accidents. Question 7. A homeowner files a claim under their property insurance policy after a tree fell on their house due to high winds. The policy includes a provision covering damage caused by windstorms, but the homeowner is unsure whether the incident qualifies because the winds were below the speed threshold typically considered a storm. What should the claims adjuster do? A. Deny the claim because the winds did not meet the threshold for a windstorm. B. Accept the claim as the tree damage was caused by high winds regardless of the storm classification. C. Investigate the specific wind speeds and determine if the event qualifies as a windstorm under the policy's terms. D. Recommend that the homeowner file a claim under their comprehensive coverage for tree removal. Answer. C. Investigate the specific wind speeds and determine if the event qualifies as a windstorm under the policy's terms. Explanation. The claims adjuster should review the specific policy language and investigate the exact circumstances of the wind event. Some policies define a windstorm with specific criteria, such as wind speeds or storm conditions. Therefore, the adjuster needs to determine whether the wind event qualifies under the policy's definition. Simply assuming that the winds were insufficient to trigger coverage without investigation would be premature. Additionally, understanding how policies define terms like windstorm is essential for accurate claims evaluation. Question 8, scenario-based. MS Hernandez is a claims adjuster handling a liability claim for a business that sells kitchen appliances. A customer claims that they were injured when a faulty blender exploded during use. The customer alleges that the appliance malfunctioned due to a manufacturing defect, while the company claims that the customer failed to follow the safety instructions properly. The appliance's manufacturer has no prior complaints of similar incidents. What should MS Hernandez do in evaluating the claim? A. Accept the claim as the company is liable for any injuries caused by defective products. B. Deny the claim as the manufacturer has no prior complaints and the customer likely misused the product. C. Investigate the manufacturer's history with similar products, evaluate whether proper safety instructions were provided, and assess whether the defect could have caused the injury. D. Immediately recommend that the customer pursue legal action against the manufacturer. Answer: C. Investigate the manufacturer's history with similar products, evaluate whether proper safety instructions were provided, and assess whether the defect could have caused the injury. Explanation: in evaluating a liability claim involving a defective product, the adjuster must consider several factors: the product's manufacturing history, whether safety instructions were clear, and whether a defect was indeed present. MS Hernandez should investigate whether the product malfunctioned due to a defect or improper use, as this will determine whether the manufacturer can be held liable. Product liability claims often involve investigating the product's history, whether the defect was a one-time occurrence or part of a larger pattern, and whether the customer followed the safety instructions. Question 9. An adjuster is reviewing a claim for a homeowner whose property was damaged by a tornado. A homeowner's policy covers windstorms, but there is no specific mention of tornadoes. The homeowner claims that the damage was caused by the tornado, while the insurer argues that the event does not qualify as a windstorm under the policy. What is the correct course of action for the claims adjuster? A. Reject the claim since the policy does not specifically mention tornadoes. B. Accept the claim as tornadoes are generally classified as windstorms. C. Investigate the exact nature of the event and determine if the damage resulted directly from wind-related factors covered by the policy. D. Recommend that the homeowner seek additional coverage for tornado-related damages in the future. Answer: C. Investigate the exact nature of the event and determine if the damage resulted directly from wind-related factors covered by the policy. Explanation: the adjuster needs to consider the specific language of the policy and how it defines windstorm. While tornadoes are often categorized as windstorms, the adjuster should investigate whether the policy explicitly defines or excludes tornadoes. The adjuster must determine if the tornado's damage is consistent with the wind-related damages that the policy intends to cover. This involves reviewing meteorological data, damage assessments, and the policy's coverage terms. Policy interpretation and the specific terms governing wind-related damages are key factors in claims evaluation. Question 10. A health insurance claim has been filed by a patient who underwent a routine surgery. The surgery was covered under the patient's plan, but the patient is also seeking reimbursement for additional non-covered services like a cosmetic procedure performed during the surgery. What should the claims adjuster do? They reject the entire claim because the surgery involved a non-covered procedure. B. Accept the claim for the surgery, but deny the reimbursement for the cosmetic procedure. C. Accept the entire claim, as the non-covered procedure was performed alongside. It covered one. D. Approve reimbursement for both the surgery and cosmetic procedure, as the cosmetic procedure is part of routine care. Answer: B. Accept the claim for the surgery, but deny the reimbursement for the cosmetic procedure. Explanation: when evaluating health insurance claims, the adjuster must differentiate between covered and non-covered services. In this case, the surgery is covered, but the cosmetic procedure is not. The adjuster should approve reimbursement for the covered surgery, but deny payment for the cosmetic procedure as it is not part of the policy's coverage. Claims adjusters must ensure that only eligible covered services are reimbursed in accordance with the policy. Question 11. A homeowner has a property insurance policy that covers theft or burglary of personal property. A homeowner reports that several valuable items were stolen from their home while they were away on vacation. The homeowner has no security system and there is no sign of forced entry into the house. What should the claims adjuster do next? A. Deny the claim immediately as there is no sign of forced entry. B. Accept the claim as the homeowner's property was stolen during their absence. C. Investigate further, including examining whether the lack of forced entry or the absence of the security system may indicate fraud or negligence. D. Recommend that the homeowner install a security system before filing any future claims. Answer: C. Investigate further, including examining whether the lack of forced entry or the absence of a security system may indicate fraud or negligence. Explanation: a lack of forced entry or a security system may raise concerns about the validity of the theft claim. E-Justice should investigate further to ensure the claim is legitimate. The possibility of negligence or fraud must be considered. For example, the homeowner might have inadvertently left doors or windows unsecured. It's important to ensure that the claim is consistent with the policy's terms, including any conditions related to security. Question 12. An adjuster is handling a claim where a tenant's belongings were damaged due to a burst water pipe in an apartment building. The tenant has renter's insurance, which covers water damage but excludes damage caused by faulty plumbing. The building's owner is responsible for maintaining the plumbing. How should the adjuster proceed? A. Deny the claim since the plumbing is the landlord's responsibility, not the tenant's. B. Accept the claim since renter's insurance typically covers water damage, regardless of the cause. C. Deny the claim because the damage was caused by faulty plumbing, which is excluded. D. Approve the claim but ask the tenant to seek reimbursement from the landlord's insurance. Answer: B. Accept the claim since renter's insurance typically covers water damage, regardless of the cause. Explanation: renter's insurance generally covers personal property damage from events like water damage, even if the cause is related to the building's infrastructure. Since the tenant's belongings are covered under the renter's policy and the water damage is the primary concern, the adjuster should approve the claim. The tenant may also pursue a claim with the landlord's insurance for any damage to the structure. Question 13. A business owner files a commercial property insurance claim for damage caused by a fire that started in a nearby building. The fire spread to the business's property, causing extensive damage. The policy includes coverage for fire damage, but excludes damage caused by neighboring structures. What should the claims adjuster do? A. Deny the claim because the fire started in a neighboring building. B. Accept the claim, as fire damage is covered under the policy, regardless of the source. C. Investigate whether the fire was directly caused by the neighboring structure and determine if coverage applies. D. Approve the claim, but only for part of the damage that is unrelated to the neighboring structure. Answer: A. Deny the claim because the fire started in a neighboring building. Explanation: the policy excludes damage caused by neighboring structures, so the adjuster must deny the claim. Even though fire damage is typically covered, this specific exclusion applies here because the fire originated outside the business owner's property. The claims adjuster must carefully review the terms and exclusions of the policy to apply the coverage appropriately. Question 14. Scenario-based. A claimant files a life insurance claim after the insured person dies due to an accidental fall. The policy includes a suicide exclusion clause, and the claimant insists that the fall was an accident. However, there is conflicting evidence that the fall may have been intentional. What is the best course of action for the claims adjuster? A. Immediately pay the claim since the fall was reported as an accident. B. Deny the claim outright because the policy includes a suicide exclusion clause. C. Investigate the circumstances surrounding the fall and determine if the suicide exclusion applies before proceeding. D. Accept the claim and request that the beneficiary provide additional documentation for clarity. Answer: C. Investigate the circumstances surrounding the fall and determine if the suicide exclusion applies before proceeding. Explanation: the claims adjuster should thoroughly investigate the circumstances surrounding the death, especially since there is conflicting evidence. If the death could have been self-inflicted, the suicide exclusion clause may apply and the claim should be denied. A careful investigation is necessary to determine the cause of death and ensure the policy terms are adhered to. Question 15. A health insurance claim is submitted for a surgery that was approved in advance. However, after the surgery, it is revealed that the patient underwent a different, more extensive procedure than initially authorized. How should the claims adjuster proceed? A. Deny the entire claim due to the unauthorized procedure. B. Approve the claim for the surgery, but reject the extra procedures performed. C. Approve the entire claim since the patient's condition may have required the additional surgery. D. Recommend that the patient seek retroactive authorization for the additional procedure. Answer: B. Approve the claim for the surgery, but reject the extra procedures performed. Explanation: the adjuster should only approve the portion of the claim that aligns with the original authorization. If the patient underwent additional procedures that were not authorized, these should be excluded from the reimbursement. However, if the additional procedures were medically necessary, the patient should seek retroactive authorization to ensure those are covered. Question 16. A business owner files a commercial general liability claim for property damage caused by an employee during a company event. The policy includes an exclusion for claims arising from employee actions while on duty, but the incident occurred outside regular working hours. How should the adjuster evaluate this claim? A. Deny the claim because the employee was acting on behalf of the company. B. Accept the claim since the incident occurred outside regular working hours. C. Review the circumstances of the incident to determine if it occurred during a work-related event. D. Recommend that the business owner file a workers' compensation claim for the damages caused by the employee. Answer. C. Review the circumstances of the incident to determine if it occurred during a work-related event. Explanation. The adjuster must determine whether the employee's actions during the event were considered to be within the scope of their employment, even though it occurred outside regular working hours. If the event was business related, the exclusion may not apply. The adjuster should investigate the situation to assess whether the employee was acting within the course and scope of their duties when the damage occurred. Question 17. A homeowner files a claim for water damage caused by a leaky roof after a heavy rainstorm. The homeowner's policy covers storm damage, but there is a clause stating that roof maintenance is the homeowner's responsibility. The roof had not been properly maintained. How should the claims adjuster respond? A. Accept the claim as the water damage is related to the storm. B. Deny the claim because the homeowner did not maintain the roof. C. Accept the claim partially, compensating the homeowner for some damage and denying the rest. D. Recommend that the homeowner pay for roof repairs and then submit a new claim. Answer. B. Deny the claim because the homeowner did not maintain the roof. Explanation. The homeowner's policy likely includes conditions regarding maintenance, and in this case, the homeowner failed to maintain the roof. The adjuster should deny the claim because the homeowner's neglect in maintaining the roof is a factor in the damage. Insurance policies often exclude damages caused by neglect or lack of maintenance, even if the damage occurred during a storm. Question 18. A claims adjuster is reviewing a business interruption insurance claim. The business was forced to close temporarily after a fire, resulting in significant loss of income. The policy covers lost profits, but there is a waiting period before benefits are paid. What should the claims adjuster do? A. Deny the claim since the business did not meet the waiting period. B. Approve the claim, but only for the time period that exceeds the waiting period. C. Approve the claim in full without considering the waiting period. D. Recommend that the business owner submit an updated financial statement before the claim is processed. Answer. B. Approve the claim, but only for the time period that exceeds the waiting period. Explanation. Business interruption insurance typically has a waiting period before coverage begins. The adjuster should approve the claim, but only for the time after the waiting period has elapsed. The loss of income during the waiting period is not covered under the policy, so the adjuster must ensure that benefits are paid according to the terms of the policy. Question 19. Scenario-based. A customer files a claim for personal injury after slipping on a wet floor in a grocery store. The store had a wet floor sign but was not mopped properly, and the customer argues that the sign was not visible due to the clutter in the aisle. What should the claims adjuster consider? A. Deny the claim because the customer should have noticed the sign. B. Investigate whether the store took sufficient precautions to maintain a safe environment. C. Accept the claim because the store had a sign, which implies they were aware of the hazard. D. Approve the claim only if the customer can provide photos of the clutter. Answer. B. Investigate whether the store took sufficient precautions to maintain a safe environment. Explanation. The adjuster must investigate whether the store fulfilled its duty of care to prevent accidents by ensuring that the floor was properly cleaned and the wet floor sign was visible. Even though the store had a sign, the presence of clutter that obscured the sign could indicate negligence on the store's part. The adjuster should gather evidence about the store's procedures for cleaning and signage placement, as well as whether the store was aware of the specific hazard and did enough to mitigate it. The overall goal is to determine if the store acted reasonably to prevent injury. Question 20. A homeowner files a claim for storm damage to their roof, claiming that a recent hailstorm caused several shingles to be damaged. The homeowner has a policy that includes storm damage coverage but excludes damage from wear and tear. The roof is over 20 years old and the homeowner has never had it inspected or maintained. What should the claims adjuster do next? A. Deny the claim outright due to the age of the roof. B. Approve the claim because hailstorms are typically covered under storm damage policies. C. Investigate the condition of the roof to determine if wear and tear contributed to the damage. D. Recommend that the homeowner file a maintenance claim for the roof. Answer. C. Investigate the condition of the roof to determine if wear and tear contributed to the damage. Explanation: the adjuster should investigate whether wear and tear contributed to the damage. While hailstorm damage may be covered, the roof's age and lack of maintenance could indicate that the damage was partly caused by deterioration over time. If wear and tear is found to have contributed to the damage, the claim might be partially or fully denied. The adjuster must assess whether the damage was due to the storm or to the poor condition of the roof. Question 20 on: an insured files a claim for damage to their vehicle caused by a collision with another car. The policy includes collision coverage, but the insured did not report the accident to the police despite the other driver fleeing the scene. What should the claims adjuster do? A. Deny the claim because the insured failed to report the incident to the police. B. Accept the claim but recommend the insured file a police report for future reference. C. Deny the claim because the other driver fled the scene, making it impossible to identify the cause of damage. D. Investigate the claim and determine if the insured was at fault or if there was any evidence to support their version of events. Answer: D. Investigate the claim and determine if the insured was at fault or if there was any evidence to support their version of events. Explanation: the adjuster should investigate the claim to assess the details of the collision. While it is generally recommended to report accidents to the police, failure to do so does not automatically negate the claim. The adjuster should look for other forms of evidence, such as witness statements, surveillance footage, or the insured's version of events. The insured's failure to report to the police could be a factor in the investigation, but it does not necessarily mean the claim should be denied outright. Question 22, scenario-based. A property owner files a claim for fire damage that occurred after a faulty electrical appliance short-circuited. The appliance manufacturer has issued a recall for the product, but the owner was unaware of the recall and continued to use the appliance. What should the claims adjuster do? A. Deny the claim because the appliance was subject to a recall. B. Approve the claim since the homeowner was unaware of the recall. C. Investigate the recall notice to determine if the owner was reasonably expected to know about it. D. Recommend that the homeowner seek compensation from the manufacturer directly. Answer: C. Investigate the recall notice to determine if the owner was reasonably expected to know about it. Explanation: the adjuster must investigate the recall notice and determine whether the homeowner could reasonably have known about the recall. If the recall was widely publicized and the homeowner had an opportunity to learn about it, there might be an argument for negligence on the homeowner's part. However, if the homeowner was genuinely unaware, the claim should be evaluated based on the coverage and terms of the policy, not solely on the recall. Question 23. A claims adjuster is reviewing a homeowner's policy after a tornado damages the home. The homeowner had purchased additional coverage for windstorm damage, but the policy specifically excludes damage caused by tornadoes. What should the claims adjuster do? A. Approve the claim because the policy includes windstorm damage coverage. B. Deny the claim because tornado damage is excluded, regardless of the windstorm coverage. C. Approve partial compensation based on the wind damage alone. D. Investigate whether the damage was caused by the tornado itself or by another windstorm event. Answer: B. Deny the claim because tornado damage is excluded, regardless of the windstorm coverage. Explanation: despite the homeowner purchasing additional coverage for windstorm damage, the policy specifically excludes tornado damage. The claims adjuster must adhere to the terms of the policy and deny the claim for tornado damage, even if windstorm coverage is included. It is crucial to review the exact exclusions and determine whether the damage falls under the specified exceptions. Question 24, scenario-based. A driver files a claim for damage to their car after hitting a large pothole on a public road. The driver's auto insurance policy includes comprehensive coverage but excludes damage from road hazards such as potholes. How should the claims adjuster proceed? A. Approve the claim as the damage is accidental. B. Deny the claim because the damage is specifically excluded under the road hazard clause. C. Approve the claim for damage caused by the accident, not the pothole. D. Recommend that the driver file a claim with the local government for road maintenance. Answer: B. Deny the claim because the damage is specifically excluded under the road hazard clause. Explanation: the claims adjuster should deny the claim due to the specific exclusion for road hazards such as potholes. Even though the damage was accidental, the policy clearly excludes damage from these types of events. The driver may have other recourse through local government agencies responsible for road maintenance, but the insurer is not liable for the damage under the terms of the policy. Question 25. A restaurant owner files a claim for food spoilage due to a power outage caused by a storm. The policy includes business interruption coverage, but the restaurant owner did not have a backup generator and did not take any steps to mitigate the risk of spoilage. What should the claims adjuster do? A. Approve the claim since the loss is due to a storm which is covered. B. Deny the claim because the restaurant owner did not have a backup generator. C. Approve the claim partially and deduct the cost of not mitigating the risk. D. Recommend that the restaurant owner invest in a backup generator for future coverage. Answer: B. Deny the claim because the restaurant owner did not have a backup generator. Explanation: the claims adjuster should deny the claim because the policy likely includes a provision requiring the business owner to take reasonable precautions to mitigate the risk of spoilage. Since the owner did not have a backup generator or take steps to prevent food spoilage during the power outage, the loss is considered avoidable and not covered. The adjuster must consider whether the business owner acted reasonably in preventing the loss. Question 26. A homeowner's insurance policy includes liability coverage for accidents that occur on the property. The homeowner has a trampoline in their backyard and a guest's child is injured while jumping on it. The homeowner has a liability policy that does not specifically exclude trampoline-related injuries. What should the claims adjuster do? A. Deny the claim because the trampoline is considered a hazardous item. B. Accept the claim, as the policy includes liability coverage for accidents. C. Investigate whether the trampoline was installed according to safety guidelines before approving the claim. D. Recommend that the homeowner purchase additional coverage for trampoline-related injuries. Answer: C. Investigate whether the trampoline was installed according to safety guidelines before approving the claim. Explanation: the adjuster must investigate whether the trampoline was installed safely and whether the homeowner took precautions to reduce the risk of injury. While the policy may not exclude trampoline-related injuries, the adjuster should verify if the homeowner met safety standards and whether the injury was due to negligence or improper installation. This helps ensure that the claim is handled appropriately under the terms of the policy. Question 27. Scenario-based. A tenant files a claim for water damage in their apartment due to a burst pipe. The tenant has renter's insurance, which covers water damage caused by accidental events. However, the burst pipe was located in the building's plumbing system, which is the landlord's responsibility to maintain. The tenant claims that the landlord did not respond to their maintenance requests promptly. What should the claims adjuster do? A. Deny the claim because the water damage is the landlord's responsibility. B. Approve the claim because the water damage was accidental and renter's insurance covers it. C. Investigate whether the landlord's failure to maintain the plumbing contributed to the burst pipe. D. Approve the claim and recommend the tenant take legal action against the landlord for negligence. Answer: B. Approve the claim because the water damage was accidental and renter's insurance covers it. Explanation: the adjuster should approve the claim because the water damage was caused by an accidental event, a burst pipe, and the renter's insurance policy covers such damage. The tenant's failure to promptly address the plumbing issue with the landlord is not relevant to the renter's insurance coverage. However, the tenant may still pursue action against the landlord for negligence, but this does not affect the claim under the renter's policy. Question 28. A homeowner submits a claim for theft of personal property, including expensive jewelry. The homeowner claims the jewelry was stolen during a break-in. The homeowner has a policy that covers theft, but there is no sign of forced entry into the home. The homeowner does not have receipts or appraisals for the jewelry. What should the claims adjuster do? A. Approve the claim based on the homeowner's word, as there is no sign of forced entry. B. Deny the claim due to the lack of evidence for the theft and lack of receipts for the stolen items. C. Approve the claim for the stolen items, as theft is covered under the policy regardless of evidence. D. Investigate further to determine if the homeowner had any previous claims or reports of similar incidents. Answer: B. Deny the claim due to the lack of evidence for the theft and lack of receipts for the stolen items. Explanation: the adjuster should deny the claim because there is no sign of forced entry and the homeowner cannot provide adequate proof of ownership, such as receipts or appraisals. While theft is typically covered under the homeowner's policy, the adjuster must ensure that the claim is legitimate by verifying the value and ownership of the stolen items. The lack of physical evidence and documentation raises red flags and makes it difficult to substantiate the claim. Question 29. Scenario-based. A business owner files a claim for damage to their inventory caused by a flood. The flood occurred during a heavy rainstorm that overwhelmed the local drainage system, and the business is located in a designated flood zone. The business owner did not purchase flood insurance, as they believed their general property insurance would cover flood damage. What should the claims adjuster do? A. Approve the claim under the general property insurance coverage. B. Deny the claim because flood damage is not covered under the business's standard property insurance. C. Recommend the business owner purchase flood insurance for future protection. D. Approve the claim for the damage caused by the rain, not the flooding. Answer: B. Deny the claim because flood damage is not covered under the business's standard property insurance. Explanation: the adjuster should deny the claim because flood damage is not typically covered under standard property insurance policies unless specifically included as an endorsement or through a separate flood insurance policy. Since the business owner did not purchase flood insurance, the claim is not covered. The adjuster can recommend flood insurance for future protection, but it does not affect the current claim. Question 30. An insured files a claim for damage to their vehicle caused by a hit-and-run accident. The insured's policy includes uninsured motorist coverage. However, the insured was unable to provide any details about the other vehicle, such as the make, model, or license plate number. What should the claims adjuster do? A. Deny the claim because the insured cannot provide any details about the other vehicle. B. Approve the claim because the insured has uninsured motorist coverage. C. Investigate further to determine if there is any other evidence, such as witness statements or video footage. D. Approve the claim, but only for the damages to the insured's vehicle, not medical expenses. Answer: C. Investigate further to determine if there is any other evidence, such as witness statements or video footage. Explanation: the claims adjuster should investigate further to gather any available evidence, such as witness statements, surveillance footage, or other documentation that could help identify the other vehicle involved in the hit-and-run. Although the insured cannot provide details about the other vehicle, the policy may still cover the claim under uninsured motorist coverage if the other driver's identity can be determined through further investigation. The adjuster should explore all avenues before making a decision.